Hey guys, welcome back to Faith and Fashion. Let's get into today's video. Hello everyone and welcome back to Faith and Fashion, where I am your host Roberta. Before I, dive into today's topic, I just wanted to say that you're not alone. As I said in my previous video before, God is there with you. And sometimes it might not feel that way, but remember that He is. He might be silent, but that does not mean that He's not there with you. And be mindful that, the struggles that you're going through are similar to what somebody else is going through. And you would not know that because you keep everything bottled up, and that is not healthy. I would suggest talking to somebody that you trust and that will give you sound advice. Find somebody that you can depend on, somebody that will encourage you and guide you on the path that is right. And sharing will make you feel better. I'm speaking from my experience. You don't have to share the burden alone. And if you're surrounded by a good group of persons, they will help you, whether it is to listen to you or give you suggestions on how to make the situation better, right? So communication is key, and remember that not everybody you can relate to or you should communicate with, because not everybody has the right intention. So I pray that you find a group of persons or a person that you can share your challenges with, and somebody who is going to be a net for you to hold you up when you are falling down. Because as Christians, we should be standing in the gap for others. Sometimes we will not always be on our feet, but it is important to help those who are on the ground, pick them up, brush them off, and let them know that you are there for them. And remember, it is okay not to be okay. We can't always be okay, right? So I just want you to keep that in mind. Now today, it's not really a Christian topic per se, but it is something I found interesting, and it's being antisocial and asocial. I don't know if you are familiar with the term asocial, but you should. Most of the times when we go out, we see persons keeping to themselves. They will say, I am antisocial. I don't really deal with people. People are not for me. I don't like peopling. I don't like to go outside. I don't like to associate myself with people. And you're like, they're just antisocial. But let us look up the word antisocial, right? Okay, let's find it. Okay, so I'm going to read this definition, and it says, people with antisocial personality disorder tend to purposely make others angry or upset and manipulate or treat others harshly or with cruel indifference. They lack remorse or do not regret their behavior. Now, does that sound like you? I don't think so. So you see why it is important to research these things and not diagnose yourself or to call upon yourself these attributes and traits. And as I said in my previous video, Proverbs 18 verse 21, death and life is in the power of the tongue. Now, if you're going around stating that you're antisocial, after a while you will become that. So you become somebody who purposely angers people or upset them and manipulate them or treat others harshly, right? You must be careful of what you're saying. And I know it's not your fault. It's just what persons You run with what person say, not necessarily looking deeply in what the word means. Now, asocial is when somebody lacks motivation to engage in social interaction. Now, that does sound like you, and that does sound like me, because sometimes I don't like to interact with people. And sometimes I like to stay in my corner. I don't like to talk that much. I like to observe people. And being asocial means that you have social anxiety, and that is okay. That could stem from experiences you have in the past. You might have been a friendly person and somebody did something that made you feel some type of way, and after that experience you start to withdraw yourself from social crowds, not necessarily because you want to, but because you don't want to experience that embarrassment. So the essence of this is saying that antisocial behavior is a constant lack of care for others or the consequences of one's action. Asocial behavior is a lack of social confidence and anxiety in new social situations. So what I'm saying is that before you go out into this world and say that I'm antisocial or whatever it is, whatever term you want to use, make sure you know exactly what it means before self-diagnosing yourself. Being asocial to me can be seen as both good and bad, depending on the context, right? On the positive side, it allows individuals to have more time for self-reflection, personal pursuit, and deep focus on the things that are deemed important to them. And sometimes I believe that being asocial can prevent you from developing friendships with persons who are not good for you, right? I believe that it prevents you from associating with persons who are not good for your growth as an individual. For instance, you can be in a crowd of people where you don't develop, you're not improving in a sense, and even if you do improve in a certain aspect, they're not supportive, and everything that you say is like, everything that you do, they discourage you from doing. So if you have an idea, that not gonna work, you should not do that. They don't add anything to you. It's more of you giving than receiving. They don't pour into you as much as you pour into them, right? Being asocial can be negative as well, because it leads to isolation, right? And it impacts your social relationship, and you miss out on making valuable connection and support systems, right? And sometimes you might be going through something and you don't know how to handle it, and because you're an asocial individual, you deal with it on your own. You're isolated from the world around you, because it could be a case where you're in a crowd of people but you are still alone. And I understand, I do understand that feeling as if you can't really connect with the persons around you based on past experience. And I do believe that you learn from your past, but you can't let it navigate your future. What I mean by this is, you might be hurt by somebody you trust betrayed you, and because of that betrayal, you come in the future now and you don't let anybody in. Sometimes you should allow persons to come, like break down the wall, allow persons to connect with you so that you don't feel alone. And I know it's hard, but with practice you can become more social in nature, right? I just want to end this by saying, be careful of what you're saying about yourselves and do some research. Don't just say, oh, I am this, I am that. And it was mind blowing to me because I never knew that the term asocial existed until I did my own research. And I too classify myself as a antisocial being, not knowing what it really meant. So thank you for listening. I do hope this was beneficial to you in some way, some form, and I do look forward to seeing you on my next video. I love you, and remember, God loves you more. Stay safe, right? God bless you. Bye.